Very good, gamers. How are we? This is Games and Chill, and we are in a new video in RAIDEN's latest legendary build. RAIDEN is one of the characters that improves aged over time and better adapts and continues with all evolution of the game to this day, along with Hu Tao personally. I feel that they are the characters that have the most new combinations with it. RAIDEN the Shogun is the representation of eternity, and not only that, but they are waiting for him. Great improvements in NATLAN with Salonen, and if in the future there is a supposed Bennett or Siangling 5 stars for their teams. So today we're going to include speculations and future assumptions that by rewatching this video. Leave me the comments if you are right. Let's see the legendary build of the Arconte Electro RAIDEN Shaun. So you know how to leave a good like, a good Bennett ulti, subscribe, leave a good comment for the algorithm. Thank you for enjoying and watching the video and the channel. See you at the live shows, link below the description. It doesn't cost you anything, it's free, so there I'm watching you. Thanks for that like and bell subscription. I help a lot. Recommends and positions. The video we grow, the channel grows, so thank you very much. And let's go with that, with the legendary RAIDEN Shaun build. Today, as we're going to say, stand or sub DPS off the field, it could only be used in Hyper Bloom as a triple master's degree. I will also talk about that in this building, and really in that particular section, Kuki makes it better. I mean, personally I would recommend a lot more to a Forchiro to play triple mastery as a Hyper Bloom's exploiter than... But it was part of that, and I get into that more in-depth build. That you know it, and it is very simple. RAIDEN, its main function today is to be a carry in field. In some teams, if it is Chero, it is not the one who will do all the damage, with which you will hear as a term in many guides and innate. What does Chero do? It's not considered DPS, even if it's a character in the field, like for example a Tartaglia. But really, its function is to be that character in the field. And when he has the C2, which is really the pick and that many of you are always raising, that C2 or even that C3, at that time is when the team's DPS literally bursts. Both the one who can do it and the one who can go with the companions. What does the RAIDEN Shogun do? It has a lot of text, and you cannot finish explaining, and many people still know you have to throw the elemental at the beginning of the rotation, throw all the ultis of the team, and when you re-enter you have to throw the ulti ein and hit a normal and a load, but you don't understand why this happened. The elemental basically invokes the eye, which you already know, and this eye already increases the damage of the rest of the team. I don't understand why you're getting damage to the Colosseum on a stone floor, but it's another explanation for another time actually. And the summary of this eye is that first it's going to make electro ticks every 0.9. You've got 10 cooldown, nothing more, and every time you hit with your characters with that 0.9 cooldown, it's not even a second, there'll be a coordinated electro tick that's going to help already get reactions on the team. There is one thing that is explained here in the ulti because it really contributes the ulti, but it begins to load according to strips the elemental. That's the famous Wheel of Ambition. When you pull the team's ultis, this Wheel of Ambition accumulates loads. As you see, the Wheel of Ambition begins to fill. As you see, it is very easy to see to what extent. There's a flechita here with the editors, there's a full wheel. Basically, that wheel is giving you a few stitches, and there's a limit when it's filled out to give you more damage in your ulti. The only thing that's written here at the end of the whole, when that really starts when you throw the elemental. So basically the eye is to increase the damage of the equipment's ultis, to start generating energy, to start making coordinated hits for the team to have reactions, and to start accumulating wheel loads of ambition to do more harm with your ulti. Let's start with the most technical part of your ulti, and is that normally with RAIDEN, a Chero won't fill all the wheel loads of ambition either, but that's why the cone makes you fill faster. The load so that you really do get to the maximum wheel loads of ambition. Now his elemental has no more. Let's go with his ulti eye. His ulti is a cut with a beastly climb. As you see here to talent 13, it has 852%. It benefits from all the buffos, for example in a Raiden hyper carry or damage. Extra aggravation and damage inflicted by Fiorina on a hyper loom team with Raiden carry. Now I'm talking about teams and combinations. As you see, the second reflected scaling that you have on screen is the bonus of damage of ambition for every charge of the Wheel of Ambition, which, if I do not remember, has a maximum of 60 load. And the rest of the blows are all reflected here. Damage from the first blow, second blow, third blow, fourth, fifth, loaded, descending damage as you see here. That's why Raiden is recommended to play 1-10-10, or even 1-9-10. Why? Because this right here is useless. This doesn't work. You'll never use this damage when you throw the ulti and you hit Electro the damage. It's this one right here, even though many of you have triple crowns for love, let him have the comments. Yes, I am. I spent resources on Raiden's normal attack talent. Remember that Genshin is a game in which resources are scarce, that you will be missing to upload other characters, that there will be moments when you say, oh, I have no money. I give you, as you see on screen, I have 120 million in my free-to-play account. So I give a couple of billions to the best comment in this video, but in short, it's not recommended, it's not going up and under any circumstances for love and all that, well, but it's not beneficial in Genshin to get up to Raiden's normal attack. Now to finish the ulti, as you're hitting, you've got 5 stacks that are going to get power back to the whole team, and it's with a cooldown of a second every stack. And here it puts you, when you raise this, it maximizes energy regeneration of the mind. Oniric, 2.5 points of energy. That is, 2.5 times 5 is 12.5 of regeneration to the entire equipment. With this, the rest of the team, for example, a cost Xiangling of 80 passes at the cost of 67.5, that is interesting and buy. That makes the rest of the team, like I told you with Raiden, which is considered battery. Not just because of the particles it generates, but because of this talent, the rest of the team, when you play a team with Raiden, he has his ult first. Yeah, that is very interesting. And the rest is already explained. The Wheel of Ambition, the Electro blows, everything is Electro, everything is climbed with the ulti. You're doing a big hit, that's easy. But you know that Raiden gets and needs a barrage of recharging, and now we're talking about it and the clock and the gun and so on, and it's cooldown to 18. It's not a cooldown to 20, which is a little bit wider, but at Raiden National you're always going to go with Xiangling, with which Raiden is played in 20 rotation teams and Sarah in the Raiden Hyper Carry. You also play a rotation team of 20. In the Raiden Hyper Bloom, not when it's support, but when it's carry too, you'll play a Korra, Fiorina, Nahida, Baiju. And Baiju is also 20. With which Raiden initially, and now I will comment on exceptions, as if you have chicks, or as if you play with Salon and C2. You will be able to play in minor rotation teams, but on all teams you play at core level. In the Hyper Blooms where Raiden is a support, which I explained makes Kuki's function, he only uses his elemental that has 10 seconds of cooldown. So, on the teams where Raiden is out of the field, Triple Mastery, exploiting Hyper Blooms, it doesn't matter because it doesn't usually stretch the ulti. If the strips for immunity frames to recharge the rest of the equipment. You don't always throw it away, so really the cooldown that counts is this. Now, first talent of Ascension, and as you see, is quite simple when explained didactically. First talent of Ascension, the orbs or elementary particles obtained by the close characters of the team. That is, while you rotate, you give 2 charges of the Wheel of Ambition, but it can only be once every 3 seconds. I mean, they're not much more of a burden of ambition, and it's a bit of a rare talent that just gives you more burden. But with this at Cheryl, you're not going to max out the wheel loads of ambition, which is what you're going to get by accumulating more. Palm to the ulti, but by throwing away the ulti, all the burdens go away. And second talent of Ascension, I think you all know, from 100% recharge with Raiden it's normal to reach 230, 240, 250. So you calculate a computation here because that's about 150. A little less sometimes you increase 0.6 the elementary energy regeneration of the Dream Mind, and you increase a 0.4 your bonus of the extra damage, and the. This is interesting because you earn a lot more than what gives you a chalice with the recharge of energy. Clock, with which obviously not worth a reloading clock, it is worth having the recharge in the substats. And now we're talking about it. because in time and only because of the desire and anxiety to build Raiden fast and play it the first day with items easier to get, a lot of people did the charging clock thing. Attack Chalice and that harms Raiden infinite, because Raiden plays base. Its greatest damage per rotation does 0, and makes 3 or 2 as well, and its actual computation, the equality of substats. It'll always be better with an attack watch and electro chalice, and a lot of people use this here to say, well, the charging clock makes up for it. No, it doesn't make up, even considering this. Neither bearing in mind that the set turns the recharge into damage to your ulti, nor bearing in mind that the light of the mower turns recharge into attack percent, doesn't rent a recharge clock, starts to rent when the light of the mower. It's got dupes. It's got R3, 4 or 5, mainly R4 up. Before that, nothing at all. And I doubt very much that you have mower light. R4 Gigane? Now, the complete kit is this, and it's that easy. That's why Raiden's rotation on all teams is. We start by throwing the ulti, i.e. forgiving, elemental. We do all the rotation of the team properly whatever. I'll make a video of Raiden's equipment, or capable. Before this video I've uploaded a video of Raiden's equipment, so if I've already uploaded it, it will be over here on screen. And when you've thrown out all the ultis and all the kit from the rest of the team, you have already accumulated loads of the Wheel of Ambition, because with the particles that are generated and absorbed by talent, for the ultis casts that give loads of the Wheel of Ambition, they're already at the end of all. You throw the ulti of Raiden in field, and you start tearing up Raiden on both Hyper Carry and Raiden National, and Raiden Hyper Loom's team. But Raiden Hyper Loom carry in the field, which is Raiden Furino Nahida Baiju's latest team. Now, Constellations, you know that Raiden is one of the characters in Genshin Impact that everyone has for so long. Time knows his most famous C2. At least they have it in knowledge, even though he may not have taken it out. Putting out Constellations in Genshin Impact for a free-to-play is something not so simple. You can save a lot. You can sacrifice taking out other characters, but it's not for everyone. But when you've been playing for many years, you can come up with something like that and get it free to play. The Cone Wheel of Ambition accumulates loads faster. As I told you before, the loads accumulated with the ultimate ability of Electro-type characters increase by 80%. That is almost twice as many loads, and that of the characters of the rest of the team 20% more. Bottom line, you're hardly ever gonna get Chero to have the full wheel loads of Ambition. With the Cone, you finally get the full Ambition wheel loads to maximize the extra bonus in damage to your ulti. It's a cone that gives you more damage in your ulti, basically. A lot? Well, it combines with the C2. But not so interesting, the cone. C2, all the damage of your ulti, ignores 60% the defense of the enemies. Enemies who have the same or higher level than you. That is, all in the abyss. They basically build up a defense scale equivalent to you hitting them half the damage you should hit them in a way. Ignoring 60% is technically doing 60% more damage from that. Half that you wouldn't be doing the damage, which means she's a fool. She's a lot. And that's why you see Raiden's C2 can get here. We're at a time in Genshin when already Mualani has got 1 million. Who's recently gone out in NATLAN where it's more normal to put 1 million? Not everyone can put that 1 million. But Alikino can also put 1 million with his C2 vaporizing, that is. It's a little easier, it's not so weird to put 1 million in, but then the sustained damage of the blows that make 100 or 200. That to the joint blow of the load, the sustained damage of Raiden's teams with Raiden and the rest of the team remains. A fucking save with this C2 that we have that only applies Raiden's damage. Key, the last S3. That increases all the scales of your ulti, which is all your damage. And here you know that C3 is better than the weapon. K gives you more damage than your gun. C3 catches better than C2 and gun, so obviously Raiden's pick is C3 plus gun. Logically, you're seeing it around here, but if you're deciding between the gun and the C3, considering that you can lose the gun and not take it out and lose desires and the whole story, basically, as I say, it's much better to get the C3 out of Raiden knowing that a character you can, in quotes, secure a little more. And that maybe the weapon you lose with the 5050, you never get it to use. Specifically, this time it comes with Kinnish stun, which, if you're not going to throw Kinnish, maybe that controllable. It doesn't do you any good. Maybe it'll do Mavuika any good in the future, who knows. The C4, that there are already a lot of people with C3 who will say, now I'm going to the C4 and I want to warm up. The C4 gives a 30% attack to the entire team. Does this benefit? Well, it depends. If you go on a sea angling team, because it benefits, the damage that your sea angling will also do at Raiden Hypercarry with Raiden C4. But really already with Raiden C2, C3, Raiden will. It takes half the damage from the team, that's fine, and when you're going to play a Raiden Hypercarry team, where Sarah really does, you buffa in proportion to the base attack, with which this doesn't matter. Kazuha doesn't care about that attack, and Bennett also buffas you with us. Raiden himself will do more damage, but it is not a C4 from the other planet. Stay on C3 and from there take out other characters. C5 is the elemental +3 that gives you pretty much the same, and Chicks was always weird. Combines mainly with Yamiko, and the good thing about these videos, if you like them so much, is because I explain to you such technical aspects. Really, people, when they explain the cheek, say good because they do this and reduce cooldowns. Not a lot of people have really finished testing it. I've had the great luck that they do. There are people who have also been able to prove it, but the reality of this is that even if you reduce the cooldown of some of the characters of the team, the rotation, for example, of a Xiangling's National Raiden 20 seconds passes like 16-17. Raiden is still 18, and the energy that is generated sometimes stays a bit fair, with which he improves the Raiden National a little bit. Not enough to be a 6 of one character and more than one Archon improves the Raiden Hypercarry. Not enough. And in fact, Shilonen C2, the C2 of Shilonen that reduces the cooldown of the Electro characters. I'll talk about it in the equipment video, and at the end of the video too. It's better than Raiden's Cheek 6. That is, if you want to take Raiden Hypercarry to the highest level, I would expect to say by the C2 of Shilonen more than by the 6 of Raiden. The Cheeks of Raiden, I say in summary, reduces a second to a maximum of 5 times. 5 seconds the cooldown of the rest of the team, and it's not that it improves access to some teams. They do improve rotations, but there are even people who are so suited to a 20-second rotation with Sarah, with Baiju and Xiangling, as I explained earlier, those 3 better teams than when trying to throw elementals and ultis or not. Exit at the exact moment of Raiden's ulti, even interrupting it. You don't even end up taking advantage of the Cheek 6 because you accidentally adjusted a rotation of 20, and you rotate in those 20s, that is, does not interrupt enough before to throw again elementals and ultis, having reduced this cooldown. In short, he only takes advantage of Yai. Basically, he's got 22 cooldown and he's down to 18 cooldown, and you can play. Raiden teams more Yay with Raiden Chicks very broken, but really no one else today in the game, and it's not that interesting. No big deal. Artifacts. Raiden only has 2 combinations of set, if you're going to play on the 3 teams I mentioned. That I will remember at the end of the video, and that I will make a video of equipment, always as field cart will go with Emblem of Destiny. 2. Tochero. 3. Do whatever you want, and if you're going to play Raiden support also from Hyper Bloom out of the field will go, or full Dreams Triple Mastery Oreos with Recharge Substat to throw the ulti, or full Forgotten Flower of Paradise Triple Mastery with Recharge Substat to throw the ulti from time to time. That's how easy the sets are if you're going to play Raiden Hyper Bloom with Forgotten Flower or Golden Dreams. Even if I repeat it in order to clarify the substats, you simply have to look for Triple Mastery and Flower and pen the Maximum Mastery. Now, if we're going to play Raiden at the damage level, its construction today has been greatly simplified and is spectacularly simple. The first thing I'm going to tell you is what you don't have to look for, and it's wrongly recommended that it makes you lose damage in Raiden, and makes you settle for things that bring much less to Raiden, that is, you don't have to seek mastery. Here's a big cross on the screen, editors, and don't look for percentage attack on substats. The Raiden substats with full Emblem of the Destination in field a year will be Chero. It's done 2. It's always going to be 3. It's going to be critical probability, critical damage, and energy recharge. Anything other than those 3 things is expendable. It's failure, and it's going to hurt Raiden's maximum damage. If you want to settle down knowing it's hard to get something better, then yes. But mastery or attack is not recommended. Only critical proportion and only recharge. You're always gonna wear an attack watch, and you're always gonna wear an electro damage bonus. The subject of wearing a recharged watch would only be with weapons that do not give recharge, but that give you a very high roof in Raiden as the Homa and the Jade Hawk, which is the permanent weapon, and now with the weapons I explain. But mainly you're going to look for attack unless you don't get to the minimum of recharge. Here you will always look for electro, and in the helmet critical probability or critical damage depending on what you need. But as Raiden does not scale with probability and does not receive buffs of probability, the most normal is to get probability helmet. In Raiden, so easily the substats and items of Raiden are broken down. Now, as I say, if there are opportunities and options, where the charging clock can work, but it depends on the weapon. Let's go to the very simple thing. There are 3 weapons throughout the game that give you recharge, and that many of you good for, and that many of you are the ones that will play mainly in Raiden. Remember that weapons number 1, I'm going to break it down much more deeply into Taktar's building summary than is simply a much simpler infographic that will be here, linked in the description, and thanks to the Taktar team too for supporting the channel. And basically there I'll make a tier list much more carved and so on, but in this video we go to what always I explain. First, let's simplify the free-to-play weapons that you can get in Raiden and the best free-to-play weapon apart of the 5 stars. The catch, what happens is that when I have made several videos talking about Raiden and Xiangling, it always gives Phil's dilemma if I have a catch solo that I put on Raiden or Xiangling. Well, very easy. If your Raiden is 0, to prioritize your best weapon for is Xiangling, including the Light of the Reaper. If you have Raiden CC and more light, it is better to give Xiangling more light and your team together will do more damage. If your Raiden is C2, to prioritize the best weapon for Raiden. Now the best weapon that Raiden has free to play is Capture. And in the absence of catch, you can put Flavonia's Spear. I only recommend Flavonia's Spear if you're Raiden. It's 0. If your Raiden is C2, like you have to prioritize the best weapon you put in the Light of the Mower. Now to structure the weapons, I said that there would be 4 recharging weapons. Now I enter Jade's Falcon. Now I come in with the Homa, who are also very good 5 stars for them, and you have them. But in short, we have the Heavenly Permanent Spike that can come to you quite well. That also gives you recharge and rival, with the catch in quite a few aspects, but it gives you 10 minus. Well, 9 minus recharge at level 90, but they are very similar. The difference is not that I would tell you to have the heavenly pick and the catch at the same height. In case you have Xiangling and Raiden, and don't know what weapon to put and have a dilemma between the Celestial and the catch spike. Pinto Gorgorito, and the one that best balances the substats, because the Celestial spike gives you more base attack but less recharge and less probability, and the catch gives you more recharge and more probability, more damage to the ulti but less base attack than that. Is also a buffo that is complemented with T-net that buffs you the attack. Then they are very equal when you have both. Priorities is simply the one that benefits you in the construction. Pinto Gorgorito, the one that helps you the most to make Raiden okay, and Xiangling is okay. If Raiden is C2 to prioritize her, that better make the wall. Critical ratio and construction in Raiden. And finally, the Light of the Mower is the best weapon that Raiden can have in all the combinations of the game, but only if Raiden is C2 or C3. If Raiden is Chero, it is better to light the mower to Xiangling. And this is an incredible improvement in your accounts. There are people who doing that little detail has gone from not going over to the V of the Abyss to say, okay Phil, I just blew up a living room and I realized the extra damage I just gained by putting light on it. From the mower to Xiangling without my Raiden, this 0. Now without going into more Raiden triple mastery stories, we'll always go with ill. Dragon Loss that gives you more mastery, point, and exceptional cases, Alconde Jade and Homa. The Jade, Alcon, and the Homa are 5-star weapons that will help Raiden a lot, and hypothetically are the only 2 weapons that do not give you recharge. It will be difficult to get enough recharge and substat to reach the minimum. Now we talk about the minima that you always like, the builds that explain how many are the minimums of the characters, and with Alconde Jade or Homa, you can put a recharge clock if you don't reach the minimum. Raiden's secret if you get Jade's Alcon or Homa, and in fact Alconde Jade gives you even more ceilings with attack clock. And enough recharge and substats to get to the minimum that would be the equivalent of at least having more than 235 recharge. You have the second strongest combination of Raiden, i.e. a Raiden with Jade with attack clock and 235 recharge and sub. Stats is the second percentage combination that most potential maximum damage has with Raiden. The Homa would be the third, but construction is very complicated, so if you are complicated all this, and it is too technical part, do not worry about it. You put a catch with C3, you built it, taking it to the sky, that gives you 12 probability, and gives you a lot of recharge, and the clock. Attack is ensured, and you have one of the best Raidens, also of everything that is Genshin impact, and of your account, and of your account community, so this is a more technical point, but the Earl Jade and the Homa for Raiden are very powerful. There are more spears. That you will ask me, but I really stick to this because it is what can most benefit minimum Raiden, as you do not have to carry attack on substat. Do not worry about the attack. Although it looks a little short with catch if you can see 1600. It looks low, it's fine, it's more than enough then. Bennett the pyro consonants, the nobility set the recharge bufo in priority. In Raiden are 235, but it is 35 us always with attack clock and recharge weapons. Or if you cannot get that with Jade or Homa, look for a recharge clock. That simple second you always have to get 70 of probability. I have a little less still follow. In the process of improving this Raiden in the free-to-play, make it top 1 worldwide, and that is incredibly perfect, but approach 70 or even a little bit more to avoid failing the cut. And then critical damage, remember that Sarah chicks in hyper carry. Give 60 years of critical extra, so don't go beyond them. Hey, try to stay if you get it, because it's very complicated in 170, 175. And out there you're already reaching maximums is complicated, not everyone can get it. And in fact, the catch that gives you 12 of probability benefits you more to reach a high crit value, because if you have his weapon, as is my case, the weapon doesn't give you probability. And it doesn't hurt, so getting to a high crit value with your weapon is very complicated. The mathematical ceiling with perfect artifacts of Raiden would be something like 70, 180, but it's ultra mega super complicated, so cheer up if anyone has a Raiden without. The mower with 70, 180, and 235 more recharge, because let me tell you friend that it's a perfect Raiden doesn't have much more mystery. And if you're starting out, you want a national Raiden with 0 Raiden calmly, just look for the minimum recharge, minimum probability, and if you have 110 or 120 damage, it's okay to play that Raiden, and also remember that if you're going to play of catch, that gives you 12 probability, carry 58 probability, plus 1270 or 59, 60, 61, 62, plus 1274. But be careful not to pass. I'm going to make you a totally separate team video, but let's talk. As I said, and leave a little wink in this video, with the 3 best teams 4 with Raiden support and is the improvements that can to be implemented. In case then we were right, because if this is really so, I don't think we need to update Raiden's bias anymore. Maybe a team video does with a Bennett 5 stars, or a Xiangling 5 stars, or with Salunin, but the sketch is as follows. The top 3 Raiden teams are the Raiden Hyper Carry, which is the one you see on screen, the best in slot, and the best alternative is the one you see on screen currently. There is a version with Chabruz instead of Kazuha, but it depends a lot on Chabruz with constellations. Can reach what Kazuha can benefit you the day you have it with Ixifos, that gives you Raiden recharge, or the day that you have C2 with extra 8% buffo additional elemental damage. So we have the Hyper Carry with the Chabruz and Zalunin variant instead of Kazuha in the future, especially if Zalunin is C2, will give us the best Raiden Hyper Carry in history, i.e. Raiden Tarek Zalunin Bennett. If they don't nerf a Zalunin, and depending on the C2 of Zalunin, that gives us an extra 20 points of energy. Electro characters and 5 seconds of cooldown reduction to the entire team, making it a Raiden Hyper Carry. 15 seconds but 20 as a Zar that has cooldown of 20. Then we have the Raiden National that has a lot of variants. I'll explain them in Raiden's team video, but basically this is what you see here. Genshin Qiuyu can go here, Furina. You can't go here because you don't apply enough, and you lose the main mechanics of the equipment that is for Xiangling to vaporize. More overloads, that is called super vaporized, and the wink of the video is that if a Bennett 5 stars comes out, I understand that going here. And if a Xiangling 5 stars comes out, I understand that going here the team will get better enough, because this team has rotation of rotation. 20 by Xiangling. But if an Archont comes out, a Mavuika Xiangling 5 stars with rotation of 16 or 18 will be in addition to a Raiden National with more damage, a Raiden National passing rotation of 20. To rotation of 18, which is the cooldown that have to land. Xiao Von and so less Xiangling. Then we have the Hyper Bloom core that I have around here. Surely here is where you can play something like that. So if you bring Furina, you have to wear Kuki for the heating, but you can play here Xingqiu instead of Furina with Raiden Triple Mastery Prediction of the Dragon that I have told you. And to end this account, do not. I have but Raiden's 3rd team, which is literally the core of Genoid Chlorind. But Raiden with C2 also makes a spectacular work. We have the Archonte team is that it is Raiden, Furina, Nahida, Baiju, which is a core of Hyper Bloom and Esprit, making the main truck in the field do a lot of damage. That team to Baiju can be changed to a Cyanune Hunter of V Dragons that will also give the green shadow to Raiden, because Raiden leaves his eye in the field and can also be replaced in the future by Inen that will give us the Bufo. The Bufos of damage to both Furina, that is Hydro, and coincides with Raiden that is Electro, with which that Raiden Hyperbloom team, like Raiden in field, has evolution and has many improvements. So Little more waiting for Raiden's video equipment, we're going to see them, and I've already uploaded it previously where I explain much more the rotation. Energy teams variants of all Raiden teams, and I hope this is really the last will, because if really, we hit the Raiden National Cianyon Venez 5 stars, and Salunin will no longer need to update anything. Referring to Raiden, little more thanks for watching this piece of video. Half an hour of video alike there for editors, and already you know how to subscribe with bell, doesn't cost anything is to support the channel. Raiden Show 1 for the algorithm comments position.